You step onto the market square long before the sun rises and instantly regret it. The darkness doesn't hide the chaos, it amplifies it. Torches flicker against crooked wooden stalls, casting long shadows that make every movement feel threatening. You can barely see, but everyone else seems to know exactly where they're going. Carts rattle past your feet, pigs squeal through the mud, and someone shoves you without even looking back. The ground is alive beneath you, slippery with manure, spilled ale, and something you really hope isn't blood. The air reeks of smoke, damp cloth, and animals packed too closely together. You're already coughing, and the market hasn't even officially opened yet. A pickpocket brushes your sleeve, and by the time you turn, he's gone. Merchants are already shouting, trying to stake out the best spots, threatening each other with fists, knives, and promises of curses. You came here to buy a loaf of bread, maybe some wool. Instead, you've walked straight into a battlefield where everyone's fighting for survival, and you're the easiest target. But this is only the beginning. The sun hasn't even risen yet. As daylight finally spills onto the market, you expect things to get safer. They don't. You were told medieval markets were regulated. Fair prices, quality goods, honest dealings. And technically, that's true. There are rules. They're just impossible to enforce. You watch a man officially inspect a butcher's stall. He dips a stick into the meat barrel, nods, pockets a coin, and walks away without even pretending to check anything. Corruption isn't a side effect here. It is the system. Merchants yell about weights and measures, but half the scales are rigged. You grab a small bundle of herbs, only to find out the seller diluted them with leaves from the gutter. Everyone does it, he shrugs, and he's right. Cheating isn't shameful, it's expected. If you complain, the crowd turns on you, not the merchant. Because every wasted second threatens their own fragile survival. You came looking for fairness, but fairness doesn't exist here, only desperation. And if you think the merchants are the biggest threat, wait until you meet the animals. You quickly learn that the market isn't built for humans, it's built around animals. Cows lumber through the crowd as if they own the place. Goats chew on anything, including your clothing. Chickens explode in chaotic bursts of feathers underfoot. But the real menace is the pigs. They roam freely, massive and aggressive, snorting through trash piles and knocking over baskets. One slams into your knee, and you nearly fall face first into a puddle that smells like the world's worst soup. Animals bring more than physical danger. They bring fleas, parasites, and diseases that no one understands yet. A single cough from a drover handling sick livestock could mean weeks of fever for you. And good luck avoiding them. The market square is too crowded to move freely, and every attempt to escape just pushes you deeper into the herd. But the animals aren't the only living things you should fear. Some creatures walk on two legs, and they're much better at taking what's yours. The moment you relax, even for a breath, a hand slips into your pouch, not aggressively, gracefully, almost politely, and suddenly your last coins are gone. You spin around, but the crowd swallows the thief instantly. Everyone looks guilty, yet no one acknowledges you. Because this is how the market works. You lose, someone else wins. Fair enough. But pickpockets aren't the worst of it. Organized groups work the busiest corners. One distracts you, another bumps into you, a third finishes the job. Some thieves carry knives, not for you, but for the competition. If you catch someone stealing, don't expect justice. The crowd might mock you for being careless. The guards, if they even show up, are more likely to fine you for causing a disturbance. You're learning the rules the hard way. The market is a predator, and you're fresh meat. And speaking of predators, you haven't eaten yet. Bad idea. Your stomach growls. So you follow the smell of roasted meat, which turns out to be less appetizing up close. The vendor hacks at a slab of something unidentifiable. Flies swarm the surface. The color? Let's call it medieval gray. So you reach for a piece of bread. It's rock hard, full of grit, and probably half the daily fiber you'll ever need. But the vendor proudly announces it was baked only 3 days ago. Fish arrives from the coast after days on the road. Milk is warm and often watered down. Spices? Too expensive. Preservation? Mostly salt and hope. The biggest danger isn't taste, it's contamination. No one washes their hands. Butchers slaughter animals right next to the stalls selling fruit. Blood drains into muddy puddles where children play. If you don't get food poisoning today, you should consider it divine intervention. And just when you think eating is the worst part, you look for a place to sit. There are no chairs, no benches, just mud that clutches your boots like a living creature. Every step pulls you deeper. Every shift of weight threatens to send you tumbling. The market square doubles as a dumping ground. Vendors toss spoiled produce directly under their stalls. Bones, fish heads, rotten eggs, all mixing with manure and chamber pot waste poured from nearby windows. The smell is indescribable, thick, heavy. A smell that clings to your skin, your hair, your clothes. You try to stand still, but the crowd shoves you forward. You reach for balance and accidentally touch something soft. You don't look at it. You don't want to know. But the ground isn't the only surface you need to fear. Because every once in a while, the market needs entertainment. The shouting starts suddenly. The crowd surges toward the center of the square, dragging you with it. A man is tied to the pillory, his face swollen from previous beatings. A guard announces his crime, theft, and the audience unleashes fury. People hurl rotten food, stones, insults, some spit. Children laugh. Vendors take the opportunity to advertise their goods. It's a festival, but one with a victim at its core. You try to turn away, but the crowd traps you. And the longer you watch, the more you realize the truth. Punishments aren't meant to deter crime. They're meant to remind everyone how powerless they are. You suddenly understand why thieves work in groups and why no one here truly feels safe. But the execution of justice is just one part of the show. The market has more ways to humiliate you. You spot something you want, wool, pottery, maybe a knife, and decide to negotiate. Big mistake. Bargaining is less a conversation and more a verbal knife fight. Vendors shout over you, mock your accent, question your intelligence. If you offer too little, they curse you. If you offer too much, they laugh at you. A seasoned merchant can read fear the way a wolf reads a limping deer. And right now, you're limping. Even if you agree on a price, weight fraud awaits you. Scales tilt mysteriously. Containers have false bottoms. Wool is mixed with straw. Bread is inflated with sawdust. You thought you'd get a good deal. Instead, you've been financially gutted. And the merchant thanks you for your business. But money isn't your biggest problem anymore, because you're starting to feel sick. You cough once, then twice. Someone near you sneezes directly into the air. No one flinches. That's normal here. Markets gather thousands of people from multiple villages, all carrying illnesses, colds, fevers, dysentery, fungal skin infections, parasites, lice, and occasionally something much worse. There's no concept of germs, no hand washing, no food safety. Sick people don't stay home. They come to sell, or buy, or simply because there's nowhere else to go. You brush past someone with a rash. You inhale smoke from poorly burned charcoal. You step in contaminated water. And you're breathing the exhalations of hundreds of strangers packed into a tight space. You won't feel it right away. The fever will hit tomorrow, maybe tonight. But for now, you're still walking. Barely. And the day isn't done. As the sun sets, the vendors pack up. The noise fades. You think you've survived the worst. But nightfall is when things truly unravel. Guards disappear. Torches burn low. Drunk men wander between abandoned stalls. Thieves return in groups, not just to steal, but to settle scores made earlier in the day. You try to find the road home, but the square is a maze of carts, crates, sleeping animals, and toppled goods. You trip over a rope and nearly fall into a trough filled with rancid water. Someone follows you. You hear footsteps, but can't see the face. You speed up. So do they. Escaping the market is now a race against everyone who stayed behind, and everyone who knows you're tired, hungry, and no longer alert. If you make it out alive, consider yourself lucky. But you're not truly safe yet. You limp home in the dark, covered in mud, smelling like livestock, coughing from smoke, and missing half your money. Your stomach churns from whatever you ate. Your throat burns. Your head aches. That single day cost you bruises, fear, humiliation, and possibly a future infection that could take weeks to recover from, if you recover at all. And here's the twist. For medieval people, this wasn't a special event. This was routine, necessary. The only place to buy food, tools, clothing, everything you need to survive. You don't marvel at the market's color anymore. You fear it, because you finally understand how fragile life is here, and how quickly it can be taken away by accident, violence, or disease. And that brings you to the last truth. You weren't made for this world. If you woke up tomorrow as a medieval villager, you wouldn't last a week, and the market would be the reason. Everything here is designed to break you. The noise, the filth, the crowds, the constant danger. You don't have the instincts medieval people developed since childhood. You don't know how to move through a crowd without being trampled or robbed. You don't know which foods will poison you, which merchants will cheat you, which alleys will get you killed. Your modern immune system, your sense of personal space, your expectations of hygiene and fairness. None of that applies here. The market isn't a place to visit. It's a test. One most modern people fail instantly. So when you imagine medieval life, don't picture a colorful festival. Picture a fight for survival, one that starts at dawn and doesn't end until long after the stalls close. And remember, this was just a single day.